Your monthly subscription box from postflybox.com includes all the materials needed to tie a dozen flies, along with some extra goodies. The Bunny Leech is a streamer pattern that's all about movement, because its primary ingredient is rabbit fur, which moves like nothing else underwater. This, along with a good bit of weight and a little flash, make the pattern super effective for both warm and cold water fish species. Start by inserting the point of one of the hooks into the small hole of one of the bright orange cone heads. Work the cone up to behind the hook eye, then get the assembly firmly secured in the jaws of your tying vise. Pick up the solder wire and pinch its bitter end in the fingertips of your left hand, then start taking touching wraps with it around the hook shank. After 20 or so turns, helicopter the wire to break it off close, tuck in the tail, and push the wraps up into the cone. Load a bobbin with a spool of pink uni-thread. Get the thread started on the hook shank immediately behind the solder wire, and after a few wraps, snip the excess tag end off close. Continue taking thread wraps over top of the solder wire to secure it, then wrap back to a point approximately 2/3 of the way down the hook shank. Then advance your thread forward back up to the solder wire. Snip 3 or 4 strands of crystal flash free from the hank and find the approximate midpoint of the strands. Place the midpoint on top of the hook shank and take wraps to anchor it. Pull the forward pointing portion back to effectively double the number of strands. Take thread wraps rearward to bind the flash back to the 2/3 point, then wrap forward just a little bit. For the tail of the fly, use the rabbit fur patch that has the fur angled back. Pull or snip one of the pre-cut strips free from the rest, then get hold of this strip with its fur angled like so. Trim the rear end of the hide to a point. With the fur still angled back, place the strip on top of the hook shank and measure so the point of the hide extends about a 1/2 inch beyond the hook bend. While keeping this measurement, separate the fur above your tying thread. Wetting your fingers and preening the fur out of the way helps. Use your tying scissors to snip the strip at this point. Pull off or snip away a small amount of fur at the butt end of the strip. Use tight wraps of tying thread to anchor the remaining hide tag to the top of the hook shank. Make sure it's bound down really well. Now go to the other patch of rabbit fur. These strips are cross-cut so the fur sticks out almost perpendicular to the hide. Pull one from the rest and make sure the fur sticks almost straight out. As before, pluck a small amount of fur from one end to produce a short tag. Secure that tag to the top of the hook with tight wraps of tying thread, then advance your thread forward to the back edge of the cone. Start taking wraps with this strip, preening the fur rearward as you go. The bare hide should contact the hook shank as you wrap. When you reach your tying thread, use it to firmly anchor the strip. If there's any excess, snip it off close. Most of the time, there won't be. Continue preening the fur rearward and taking thread wraps behind the cone to lock everything down exceptionally well. Pick up your whip finish tool and use it to do a 5 or 6 turn whip finish, seat the knot well, and snip your tying thread free. To ensure nothing comes unraveled, reach for your head cement and apply a liberal coat to the wraps behind the cone head. After the cement sinks in and dries, your Bunny Leech is ready to fish. Swung down and across, they're absolutely deadly.